Welcome back to the podcast. MDV and we are here to talk about, we're here to talk a little bit about the World Series, talk about youth training, and talk about training in general. This is our weekly episode. I wanted to bring up something. So I was in Dallas this last weekend. MDV, maybe you'll appreciate this. Maybe people listening will appreciate this.
Let's go. I'm excited.
So I'm in Chicago, and I'm hosting.
Chicago or Dallas? Hold on.
I'm in Dallas. I'm in Dallas, and I'm running a morning workout. Okay. And the only thing that I had them put out was that Jason's going to be running a morning workout, not that I'm coaching it. So I took a different approach to this workout. Normally at CrossFit type events like this, I'll go and I'll actually run it like a class because I'll want to show people like, hey, this is what you run a class. But this time I'm like, what do I want to do? And what I want to do is I want to get in my workout. And so I invited people to come basically work out with me at 6 a.m. And we had about 100 people show up on this like turf that was on like this bayside or like lake or something. It was really cool. It was dark outside. It was awesome. So I'm there. I'm like, guys, let's go. We're getting everybody together. And one after another, I see people coming in and their shirt is off and they're wearing jeans. And I'm like, bro, I'm like, dude, what is going on here? So I see one guy come in, or maybe not, his shirt wasn't off. At this time, his shirt was on and he's wearing jeans. I'm like, okay, like whatever, dude. Like you came to a fitness event, you didn't happen to bring like workout clothes. Like that's fine. Like welcome. Next guy comes in, same thing. Next guy comes in, same thing. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I just do my thing. We have a great workout. At one point, I look at this guy, shirt is off, wearing jeans, doing like some playground overhead. And he looked good. And I said to him, I was like, bro, you look so good. Somebody should take a picture of you. You should be in a calendar. That's what I said to him, right? So fast forward, we finished the workout. And I'm like, I'm still kind of like, dude, what's up with these jeans? I didn't hear anything about it. Later on in the day, this woman comes up to me. She's like, hey, so like some people messed up the day. It was supposed to be tomorrow. We are with this company called Perfect Gene, and we're doing a calendar shoot. And we told people to come to the workout wearing their jeans. We were going to take pictures and sell this calendar for charity. And I was like, oh, made sense. So that was my Dallas workout experience. A bunch of people wearing jeans. I had no idea why. Like,
so you actually hit the nail on the head with
did.
You should be in a calendar.
It was just perfect. I mean, imagine a guy like he was jacked. He looked good, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like Benson Boone. You know who that guy is, like that singer or whatever.
The guy that sings that popular song. He's in good shape. Doing backflips on stage.
He does backflips on stage, like that guy. And so I'm looking at this dude. I'm like, damn, you look good, dude. And sure enough, I guess I don't know if they ended up doing it, but
well, anyways. I think Truett Haynes, if I'm not mistaken, is sponsored by Perfect Gene.
Yes,
and he very famously has done a ton of. He ran
like
challenges.
A marathon in it or something, right?
Can you imagine being one of the top competitors in a marathon and then you don't really know who this psychopath is who's passing you with wired headphones and jeans on? And he's running like a 5-minute flat mile in these things. We are not sponsored by Perfect Gene yet, but I enjoy the feeling of working out in jeans and non-traditional.
Well, you work out in jeans sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, of course. The reason that I do it is like, you know, I think sometimes I can psych myself out on doing a workout. And like, if I'm kind of feeling it, not feeling it, or if I have questions about like, am I super motivated right now to train and I don't want to lose that motivation, like any sort of distraction from just starting the workout sometimes will take me off into another direction. Like if I'm doing work and like I got a project or if like a phone call comes in, whatever, like sometimes just starting the workout, no matter what I have on, is the best route for me. So if I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, I got like 45 minutes to get a workout in, sometimes I don't like to get distracted by going to change and putting on different shoes and getting music right or whatever. I just want to go out there and start moving, start doing pull-ups, start doing dips. And a lot of times I just have jeans or khakis on or like Vuori pants or something like that. And I just start training. And I've never really had a bad workout because, I'm wearing jeans or whatever. Maybe I'm not doing like 21, 15, 9 thrusters and pull-ups and going max intensity. But sometimes I think we tend to like overvalue like the perfect outfit, the perfect environment, the perfect music. And if you're somebody who struggles with motivation to train, just start working out and then figure out, like, does your shirt have to come off? Like, a few minutes in, maybe you gotta go change your
Yeah.
pants or whatever.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
not a
Maybe
big
just go
deal.
down to your boxers, nobody cares, like, whatever.
Whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Like,
It's whatever. Nobody cares. Maybe if you have some neighbors who are, like, a little sensitive, maybe you shouldn't be doing that, but, yeah, I think that just starting to train is the most important thing. Just start your workout. Doesn't matter what you have on.
yeah, yeah, man. So I probably I can't say aside from like the tactical games training that I do because I always wear pants with that because I'm wearing a you know a you know a belt and I have a firearm on there and it's just uncomfortable if you're not wearing the right clothes for it. Aside from that, I mean I always train in shorts. But I've also been very, very, very consistent with early morning training
Mm.
for a long time. And so that's easy to do. But I wanted to so yesterday I had the privilege of well, I mean, this morning I got fired up because of Shohei Ohtani and the Dodgers. I do want to talk about the World Series.
We gotta
But
talk about that. Probably one of the greatest World Series games of all time last night.
so I wake up this morning and so last night we go to bed. The game was like in, I don't know, whatever inning. You know, I go to bed pretty early. And so does my entire family. So Caden was going to bed and Ashley was going to bed too. And then she tells me this morning, she's like, "Hey, look, I have like a confession or whatever."
Uh-oh.
She's like, I mean, she didn't say it like that. She's like, "Hey, I got stuck on that game." I was like, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah, because we were both in bed." She's like, "I thought I'd be able to go to sleep, and dude, I kept watching it." She goes, "I watched through the 15th inning, um, which was pretty late here on the West Coast.
Super late.
Turns out they went 18 innings, and I woke up this morning, and so before I went to bed last night, I always ask Caden every night, and this is something for I guess for anybody to hear. I always ask the kids before they go to bed, "Hey, is there anything in the morning I could do?" Hey, Caden in particular, because Ava does water polo and stuff. I say, "Hey, Caden, do you want to work out? Do you want to train in the morning?" And if he says yes, great. If he says no, which is less rare these days, or I just like let it go. I don't give any judgment either way. But yesterday he goes, yeah, wake me up. I say, okay, what time? He goes 6:15. I say, okay, great. So I wake him up at 6:15. We go train. I was like, hey, dude. After we were done, he's like, hey, Dad, that World Series game. Did you see what happened? I was like, no, I didn't see what happened. I was in bed. He goes, Freddie Friedman or whatever hits a walk-off home run in the 18th inning. And I was like, no way. So we started talking about that this morning after training.
Well, Freddie
Man.
Freeman now is the only player in Major League Baseball history to hit 2 walk-off home runs in a World Series. Which is pretty crazy. I mean, it's the moment that probably every kid dreams of, whether you dream of bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, 2 outs, 2 strikes. There were tons. First of all, World Series Game 3 last night, the Los Angeles Dodgers versus the Toronto Blue Jays, had just about every major type of event that you could have in a baseball game to bring like ultimate excitement. Plays
Mm.
at the plate, game-winning home runs, defensive plays that, kept the game going, masterful pitching performances, kind of indecisions or bad decisions that might have went one way or another. Like everything that could have happened last night basically happened in a game.
Did
And
you see that one play? I didn't watch much of the game, but did you see
yeah,
that one play where it was the ball went to first base. The guy slid on his knee, grabbed the ball and threw it all the way to third. Did you see that? Like,
yeah,
I'm
that might have
I
been
guess he was a Golden Glove guy from back in the
To-
day.
Tommy Edman. You know, those guys really stepped up, and you had a bunch of really defensive play. I mean, it's a gem of a baseball game if you didn't watch it.
I so
Pretty
the
crazy.
reason why I wanted to bring this up on this show
Mhm.
is I don't really watch any professional sports, and I've made that pretty clear on this show. But dude, I'm not a Dodgers. So Caden doesn't like the Dodgers because he doesn't like the idea that there's no salary caps and they just like they win. So that's why Caden doesn't like them.
A
So
lot
we
of
like
people
the
don't like
Giants.
them because of that.
Yeah. And we like the Giants because we're local, San Jose, San Francisco guys. But dude, I'm a big Shohei Ohtani fan.
How
And
could you not be?
dude, that's the whole thing. I think so. I was watching, and Liz, we were talking about this the other day about was it called the Ryder Cup? What was the golf tournament or where it was like the Europeans against the Americans? What was that one called? Do you remember?
I think it's Ryder
Um,
Cup.
Ryder Cup. And how like the fans kind of turn nasty and whatever, right? right, wrong, or indifferent, the fans turn nasty, right? And golf, based on like what I was seeing as an outsider, seemed like it's going a step away from like class and respectfulness in that setting, right? I'm not saying that overall, but that like didn't make me feel good about the sport. I was like, yeah, it's kind of like, dude, these people are just out there trying to win and you know, whatever. What I think Shohei is doing for the sport of baseball is he's showing the youth respect, and that respect is cool because the guy who's at the top of the sport, arguably the best player to ever live already, and he's just right, is like I had 6 boys in the garage yesterday. All of them know who he is. All of them were excited to watch the game, and they watch what he does, tipping his cap to the umpire, tipping his cap to the other manager, and showing respect. And I just feel like we need more players like that who are not only just like great, but also then embody this culture. And then young kids are picking it up, dude. I haven't seen any kids like, tip their hat at the umpire in our games, but I am seeing like the culture's strong, man. So I wanted to bring that up. Shout out to Shohei Ohtani and professionals like him who are leading from the front and showing our young boys, that you could be great at sports and still be respectful at the same time.
I mean, you're watching greatness personified right now in Shohei Ohtani. You're watching the best player to ever do it on the biggest stage possible. And not only is he playing well, he's now turned a corner and now he's playing out of his mind. And he's going to go from a performance last night where he hit 2 doubles, 2 home runs, and reached base 9 times. He was on base 9 times last night, which is the most anyone's ever been on base in
He got
a
walked,
game.
what, 4 times?
He got intentionally walked four times or 5 times, whatever it was. And he does it with not only a smile on his face, but he does it with a stoicism and a level of discipline and respect. And when he inevitably does something great, it's not normally just about him, it's about the team. And there was a clip that got posted, and this is the most impressive thing that I've seen about Shohei Ohtani, of all the impressive things, because the dude 2 games ago, the last time he started a game, struck out 10 guys and then hit 3 home runs in the
Right.
same game, which is,
Yeah,
like
stupid.
little league all-star player level, right? That's like little league stuff. You see the
Yeah.
best player in little league do that. That doesn't happen in Major League Baseball. There's a clip of him filling up the water cups that go on top of the water jug in the dugout. So you have the highest paid player in baseball, the number 1 star in the world, the guy who is now pitching a gem and hitting 3 home runs in a game, standing at the water cooler, filling up the cups that go on top of the water cooler so the other players can grab them. And the level of like discipline and awareness and leadership that signals to everybody around him is crazy. And it's all the stuff. This is it. Watch this. This is crazy, dude. Nobody would fault this guy for not doing this. He's standing there filling up the water cups, a job that probably goes to like the bat boy or anybody else who's around to do it, right?
Dude,
So the most
I haven't
impressive
seen.
thing.
Yeah,
Crazy.
Liz says that in Japanese culture, Hideki and his caddy in golf bow to the fans' opponents after every round. So, look, dude, I just think that like this kind of stuff for me, and obviously I'm very, very biased here, of course, but as the dad of someone who's very into baseball and being
Yeah.
surrounded by a lot of baseball parents and baseball boys at the current moment, I think that's going to evolve. And I think, but in this season of my life, dude, if the boys can look up to a player like that, dude, and like I just think it's awesome, man. So
And I'm not
yeah,
saying that
more
he's
of
a
it.
perfect human being. He's
Of
made
course.
mistakes and I'm sure that, everybody has, but it's really cool to see somebody at the top of the game play it in the way that you'd want it to be played as an example to the younger kids and not being over the top boastful about the great things that he's doing and still showing respect to the teammates and the other manager and the umpires and everything. And you can even see it in the way that if a call doesn't go his way at the plate, like his face doesn't really change that much. He doesn't complain. He just kind of asks for clarity and then maybe takes time out and gets set back in the box again. Very
Dude, 100.
interesting.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome. And something I've been working with Caden on from a very young age is that, like, dude, if you're gonna be great, like, you don't need to tell anybody you're great. You don't need to act like you're great. People know you're great. And like everybody knows who are the top players on the team. You don't need to be the guy who's boastful or loud or whatever. If you want to show some excitement and celebration in certain moments, that's fine. But there's a certain, you know, guardrails that you need to be
Mm.
mindful of. And we started working on that really early, and so I feel like he's now kind of understood where I was going. I think someone like a Shohei Ohtani is a good example of that. Of course, dude, you hit a walk-off home run, dude, show some emotion, get fired up, like, it's fine, but, like, you don't need to always be, dogging the other team or whatever it is, like, you're a professional, right? So
I always loved the idea of, coaches used to say this is like, act like you've been there before or act
Mhm.
like you've done it before, right? Like,
Yeah.
not the first time that you've done this, not gonna be the last time that you've done it, and I always thought that that was, one of the things that I loved the most about some of my favorite sports heroes growing up, guys like Barry Sanders or LaDainian Tomlinson, arguably 2 of the best running backs to ever do it in the NFL, and mostly never really celebrated or was talking trash, to the microphone after the game. Like, these guys had act like they had been there before.
Yeah. So speaking of which, so last night, baseball practice got canceled, and so I offered to have some of the boys over at the house. There's a lot of demand right now for strength training and also for self-defense
Mm,
for the boys that I'm around, and I'm trying to find the right way to do it. It's something on my mind. I'm thinking about doing like a men's club where we also allow kids to come. Just trying to be mindful of this, right? There's a lot of like pull for like, hey, my kid needs this. So this summer, I'm probably going to do like a 3 or 4 day camp, not for profit, not for business, just because I really want to try and instill some fitness lessons and also self defense lessons at the local jujitsu gym.
mm.
But yesterday, the boys come over and I had a great time. Right, we hit in the cage and then we worked out, and it's really interesting the feedback. Um, I got a message from one of the parents. Right, thanks for working the boys. This one kid can't stop talking about it. Like each one of the dads sent me a separate message just saying how much their child enjoyed it. And at the moment, I didn't know how they'd feel, or they didn't give me a ton of feedback. But
Mm.
it's cool to know that these kids, dude, they want to be pushed. They want to learn new skills. And I took a lot myself because I've worked with kids for a long time. But watching how like the first time the runner is the best example. When they got on the runner the first time, everybody's super awkward. Like the assault runner?
Yeah, yeah, and
Everybody's awkward.
those self-propelled treadmills are tough if you don't know them, and particularly also tough if you're still figuring out how to move your body through space, right?
Dude, 100%, right? And
Yeah.
so I even caveat like, "Look, guys, we're gonna do this for a minute. Just walk. Once you feel comfortable, jog. And if you don't feel comfortable, just hold on to the side. It's all good." And the first round, kids are like, really awkward about it. I'm like, "Oh, shoot. Maybe this was a mistake?" By the next round, they're running on it, and I'm like,
Mm.
"Wow." And that same thing applied for the ski erg or the back squat. It's just like they just need exposure. And so when I get questions about what we do with the youth, is that I believe to my core that sports and being around other people and doing something, whether it's music, sports, whatever, is the most number one most important thing. And the gym is simply a supplement where we can manufacture some adversity, right? Which I think is going to help make these kids more gritty, and where we could round out their athleticism. And so, you know, yeah, yesterday's just a good example. I thought we could talk about it a little bit. It's
Yeah,
fun to
I
see.
think it's a great example. Can I ask you a question? Who, when you were growing up, was the example who you looked up to for lessons in training and lessons in figuring this stuff out? Because I'm looking back on my youth, and I had certainly time with my dad, and he was my baseball coach for many years before he lived away. But I also had a group of uncles who were very heavily involved in sport throughout their careers and weight training. And at one point they were going to bring Gold's Gym franchises to the East Coast in like the 70s. It didn't work out, but like they were heavy into bodybuilding and fitness. So I got a lot of lessons from them. Like they gifted me a dumbbell set.
That's
Who
cool.
was who was your inspiration growing up?
Nah, I didn't have any from a physical perspective, none of that. I mean, I had some neighbors where, because I was racing BMX bikes, and
Mm,
his brothers played baseball at a high level, and his dad kinda he did it in his own way, kinda, like, called me out, like, kinda helped me become more like, less wimpy, I guess, but from a physical perspective, nothing really. I remember feeling like an urge to work out, like somewhere around like what? Like probably around 12. I wanted to, or maybe a little bit later. I feel like this urge to like not want to be so like pudgy.
Mm,
And I remember like asking my mom and dad for like a dumbbell set, but it wasn't like something I was encouraged. You know what I mean? Like
gotcha. But you started working at the commercial gym at some
15.
point pretty at 15. So
Yeah.
were you like eyeing people there who inspired you or like
Yeah, I mean, well, that's a really good point too. I haven't even thought about that. Yeah, at 15, I started working at the front desk when I got into high school, and at that point, I think the fitness bug had kicked in, right? Because I was playing
mm,
football and I was whatever. But yeah, it's so funny now that you mentioned. I haven't thought about this in years. Yeah, because I had all the guys that I worked with, but you had these bodybuilders that would come in, and they would teach me a bunch of stuff. Like I remember this one lady, she was like really big into it. She would drink vinegar like I'd watch her like try and balance out her pH, or one of these other Muay Thai instructors would heat up water and only drink water when it was hot because it would help him drink it faster or whatever. But I just remember, or no, before he worked out, he would drink hot water. These are like little things I remember as a kid, right? Or like as a young adult,
dude, the
like
90s were crazy in the gym. People were doing people were doing
all
anything and
kinds of weird
everything.
stuff,
Yeah.
right? And at a conventional gym, man, when you work there for years, you'd see the weirdest stuff, dude.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, I can't remember anybody by name, but I remember people walking in and the discipline was there, right? Like, especially bodybuilders, the discipline bodybuilders had was next level.
Yeah.
You might not love what they did, but man, their discipline was huge.
Well, I think it's cool that you're in a position now to even like just reflecting on that through this conversation, but also to be that example, to provide the exposure, provide the guidance, and then to do it with patience with kids at that age, I think is so key because it can be frustrating both for the person who's introducing the younger kid to these movements and for the younger kid who's trying to learn these movements, man. Like body awareness, moving your body through space, figuring out how to lift something up, put it down, like just knowing that like it's not the be all end all if they don't figure it out the first time they touch a barbell or if they don't figure it out the first time they do a push up. Like you have to be patient with kids this age too because you can turn somebody off to this stuff so easily or
Super
make them
fast.
so exactly so frustrated with them with their own selves because they can't figure out how to like not arch their back super hard during a push-up, right?
Well, and you remember what those guys looked like. I think about it a lot. So let's just say these young boys. I mean, we have people train all the time, but
Yeah.
yesterday, as an example, you have a wide variety of kids on different levels of athleticism and puberty. Like, dude, right around now, that 11, 12, 13, dude, some of these kids,
That
like one of them,
testosterone's hitting hard.
dude, some of them are like 5'10" already, and other ones haven't gotten kicked in yet. And some of them, like, you won't see them for like a month or two, and their voice will completely change. It'll be so funny. But it's like, hey, Mr. Khalifa, anyway. But dude, my biggest takeaway is like, I remember when I was young with certain people's dads, and I would hold them like, wow, that guy's, he's big, he's strong, he's whatever. And so I try and have a lot of empathy, compassion, and care because I think these boys, I mean, it's pretty clear that I work out, right? It's pretty
Yeah.
clear that like if I stand there in a shirt, they know that I'm probably moderately big and whatever. And so I would encourage anybody who's listening to this that's going to be working with the teens and youth is like, dude, you don't need to act tough around these kids. You don't need to be crazy on them. You just need to be like coach, educate, inspire. And then when the time is right and you've earned enough rapport, then you can maybe dose them a little bit or do this a little bit. But I think that like just being compassionate is number one. Like, bro, like I walked up to each one of them. I shook each one of their hand. Hey, you guys did really, really well today. Like, really good job. Like, I can't wait to have you in here again. Because over time, I'm gonna be able to push them, be able to go crazy. But if they don't have a good experience, kind of like adults, like they're not gonna look forward to it. I want them to look forward to training. Like I want the kids to be like, dude, I'm going over to Mr. Kalipa's house and we got a ton of food and a ton of training. I can't wait.
They're so malleable at this age too,
So
right? Like
malleable.
they're so whether they admit it or not. I mean, thinking back to when I was a kid, you pick up on everything. Like
Mhm.
kids are really, really aware of what adults are doing and saying and how they look and how they act and what happens when they get frustrated. And I think you're in such a prime position, through the different decisions that you've made in life and how your career has gone and where you're at, to be such a great example for these kids to look up to as somebody who prioritizes training, who does it the right way, who doesn't get, frustrated when something doesn't go their way in the gym. And I'm not saying that you have to have this set of circumstances that Jason has to be that example, but like, just reflecting on that for a moment, like if you are around kids this age and you are able to give them the exposure to that, like what a gift it is to give them to be the example of what like you would have wanted to see out of somebody who was doing that for you when you were younger, right? Like
For sure.
being able to show them the right way to train, being able to teach them these lessons. And like you don't have to do it in like a corny and cheesy way. Just be authentic and be kind and be positive. And I
They're
just
gonna come back.
exactly,
Well,
exactly. They're
like
gonna come
yesterday,
back and they're gonna wanna come back.
so Caden kind of like he put me on. I don't want to say he put me on my heels, but he kind of gave me something to reflect on yesterday. So we're training and we were back squatting. We weren't lifting crazy heavy. We were doing tempo for sets of three. I was trying to introduce the boys to like this concept of like the back rack position and whatever,
Mm,
moderate weight. And he said something along the lines of like, we finished working out. We did the full workout and we had done some sprints, some other stuff. And he's like, I walk around, I was talking to the boys. I'm talking them up, right? I'm like, dude, hey, um, Neil, whatever. You did a great job today. Like bubble, I was talking up each boy individually and sharing something I thought they did well. And of course I said to Caden, hey man, great job today. And he goes, Dad, like he goes, the other day I hit 225 pounds. You didn't even look like it phased you. You just was like none of this stuff ever gets you super fired up that I do in the gym. And he said it in a way that I could tell like
he was
he
looking
was
for a
picking up
little
on that, like, I was, like, very excited for all the boys, but with
yeah,
him, I was like, it was expected, right? So I
yeah,
sat on it over the
interesting.
night, right? I kinda sat on that for a little bit, and I was like, "Hmm." I was like, "Maybe he's like, obviously, this is the way he feels." So I'm taking him to school in the morning. I'm like, "Hey, man, I just want to let you know, like, what you said yesterday, I thought about it a lot, and, like, it's something I'll get better about, but, like, Caden, like, I'm not gonna get jumping up and down excited when you deadlift a PR because we've been training forever and this is just something we do. This is a part of our life. Now, if you hit a home run in baseball, I'm gonna be the first one that's screaming and yelling, going crazy or whatever. Like, I'm gonna celebrate you all the time. But like when it comes to training, this is just a part of our life, dude. I don't care if you deadlift 225 or 125. I don't care if you do this or that. I just like I don't know. I kind of like tried to like explain to him that like training is like this thing. It's just our lifestyle. But I finished with saying, I'll be more mindful that when you do something like that, like I'll celebrate it more because I don't want you to ever
Mm.
feel like I'm celebrating other kids better than I'm celebrating my son. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Yeah, yeah, dude, this is such a good conversation, and I think, like, I don't have like I've said before, I don't have kids, so I don't have my own kids. I'm certainly around children quite a bit, but I think I mean, I even just reflecting on my own kind of interactions with my dad through those times, maybe he just wants to hear that you're proud of him. Like
yeah,
maybe he just wants to hear like, "Yo, Caden, I'm super proud of you," right? And it doesn't have to be about the specific like lift that he got off the ground or the PR or whatever, but like those moments go such a long way. Like even probably remembering back to when you were a kid, like you just want your dad to be like super stoked on whatever you've done that you're proud of, right? Because it probably was a very Caden was probably super happy that he got 225 off of the ground and like, your dad CrossFit Games champ, like he probably was looking for like, yo, I'm super proud of you. Like, but I understand also that like the lessons about training and look what we said before, like you don't need to celebrate every single thing, like, act like you've been there before. But it is a good reminder to balance that
dude,
out with also
huge reminder.
telling your kids that you're proud of them for the moments that you have, right?
Well, I think the reason why, and my biggest takeaway I've been reflecting on is that like, was I proud of him in that moment? Like, like this morning when he was leaving the gym. So this morning I was doing a 20-minute AMRAP with a neighbor,
Mhm.
and he was doing a 15-minute AMRAP because he had to get ready for school. As he's leaving, I'm like, yo, okay, like my buddy and I, we both fist bump him. We do this every morning. It's not like this is. I'm like, hey man, proud of you for waking up this morning, and getting after it. Thank you. I always remind him of that because I don't really care about the 225 deadlift. I care about him just being consistent and showing up. But he cared about that 225 deadlift and needed
Yeah.
me to celebrate it more. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like this
Yeah.
weird dichotomy, right? Where like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's also maybe like a good opportunity for you to like take some maybe some perspective on like who you are because you are Jason Khalipa, like you are CrossFit Games champion. You have all these people coming over all the time to train with you. You get fired up when you train with these guys, and rightfully so. Like it's a super fired up type of environment. But then also like I'm not saying I don't know Caden's mindset. I'm just kind of maybe extrapolating what my mindset might be in that type of situation. Maybe there's a desire for him to be like, yo, I want some of that. I want some of that fired up Jason Khalipa too for the stuff that I do because like you share a lot of that with other people and like, yo, I'm your son, so like can I get some of that too? Because I think that that's you probably don't look at yourself as like CrossFit Games champion Jason Khalipa when you're talking to Caden. You're probably like, yo, I'm just dad, right? And there is perspective that Caden has that maybe his friends are like, yo, your dad's so cool, like whatever, you know? So maybe it's a good next time he does something, you know, dap him up, tell him,
Yeah, I'm gonna dap him up. That's what I'm gonna do.
yeah.
We have a new bat coming in tomorrow. We're gonna be doing so, guys. Make sure to follow. Well, if you guys are not on Instagram, at Jason Kleepa, because I will be doing another bat giveaway with our friends over at Just Bats. This has been the best partnership ever. Well, okay, that's an exaggeration. It's been a great partnership because there's no money exchanged. I'm not making any money on this, but Kaden and I get to go do stuff together and give
Yeah.
away bats. It's like, let's go. Like, wait, hang on. You're telling me I get to create content with my son and give free stuff to like people that are deserving of it? Like,
That's pretty cool.
so we get some new bats coming in tomorrow, which I'm excited about, and stay tuned for that.
All right in time for baseball season. Everybody getting fired up, man.
Oh yeah, well, Little League's coming up. I mean, right now we're still in travel ball. We have Ava's done with water polo, which has been um just a huge blessing. It's really interesting. Like, and water polo is just an incredible sport. But she's
Mm.
done now, so then she'll take a couple of weeks off, and then club starts, and so that'll be a whole different beast. I'll have to.
Water polo probably wasn't on your bingo card like a year ago for something that Ava would have been getting interested in, right? Like
Yeah.
what lessons has that taught you too? Because that's a really interesting conversation where you have this thing that she's now gotten super into that maybe you wouldn't have thrown a dart near water polo if you were guessing the things that she would be into. Like, what has that taught you, or like how have you shared lessons with other parents about something like that?
Oh man. I mean, dude, I told Ash this morning, like, dude, we're just in a very blessed season of our life, man. We are fully invested in the sports and our kids at this current time because I know it's going to go away.
Mm.
At some point it's going to stop, and hopefully it's many years from now. But watching watching girls sports and boys sports is very different. I think it's helped me probably to be a better parent. Her like being in more competitive sports in high school because I'm learning how to like kind of just like listen more, especially when it comes to sports, and also realize like what she needs from me versus Caden. Like we'll be in the middle of a game and she knows I'm watching all the games, and I'll be like, she'll look at me and she wants me to like wave and say hi. And like Caden, he doesn't want to have anything to do with us during the game. And learning that like girls and boys and different kids react differently to different forms of like encouragement
Mm.
has probably been my biggest takeaway. And then also like just praising praising the consistent effort, I think, has
Mm.
been so important for her because her performance, she doesn't necessarily get driven by her performance. I think she gets driven by like, she just wants to know she's showing up for the team versus Caden cares like, hey, how am I doing? And then it's the team, right? It's the other way around for Ava. So a lot of lessons learned a new sport, met new families. But most importantly, I'd say it's just been really fun to watch her throw down and learn those lessons alongside other girls, you know? That's been
Yeah.
really cool to watch.
Also a cool lesson out there, or maybe something for parents to think about. If you have a kid that's maybe not interested in traditional soccer, softball, volleyball, or whatever, that doesn't mean that they won't ever find something that they might get into or might want to find for a season of their life. Like, you know, water polo happened to come across your guys' plate because you had a friend who was a coach, right?
Yeah.
and kind of made an initial introduction. So just keeping those doors open, I think, is something that's really important too. And it's not to write off like, oh, like not interested in sports. Maybe they just haven't found the type of sport that they're interested in yet.
Dude, and I would just say be patient as a parent too. Like with Caden, I'm really trying to be patient. I know he's gonna end up loving football. I know it.
Mm,
It just, a couple years ago, didn't love it. Then like the last like 6 months, kind of been interested in going to football games, kind of interested in talking about it just a little bit. And I
yeah.
know it's going to happen eventually, but you just got to keep kind of presenting it, talking about different things, trying different things, and then eventually what is meant to be, what is part of the plan will come together as long as you keep introducing things to the kids. That's I'm more convinced of that than ever. I watch all these kids that we're around, whether they're getting introduced to boxing, lacrosse is big right now, you name it. Kids get introduced, maybe they have a bad season, they never do it again, or they get introduced, they fall in love, and now they're stuck with it. You never know.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question. Let's say something happens with Kate. Not something happens, but let's say Caden goes through a funk for a few months and he's like, you ask him to work out at, 6:15 or 6 a.m. He says no 10, 15 times in a row. How hard are you prepared as a parent to like say, hey, listen, like gave you a few no's, but now like, hey, listen, come on, I need you to train with me today. Where are you at in that? Because I bet that there's parents out there or dads listening who are like, yeah, I asked my son to come do push-ups or burpees with me, but he maybe says no every time. Like, is there a point at which you go, hey, I can't take no today. I need you to come with me.
I think at this point in my life, there is no force with that.
Mm,
I think it's my responsibility to find what they want to do. I
mm,
would say I'd put it back on me. Like, for example, Ava. So she's done playing water polo. There's gonna be a break. She wants to go and practice swimming at a pool, which is gonna be kind of a pain in the butt, right? It's not as convenient, right? But I tried telling her, "Hey, do you want to just like work some like water polo strength specific stuff like with me at the gym or in the garage?" She's like, "No." I was like, "You sure?" She's like, "Nope." I was like, "Roger that. No problem." I think
mm.
that it's on us to be like, "All right, well, if one time, two times, 10 times, if it's still no, dude, forcing is not going to work long term." And
Interesting.
so I think that we should look at it through a different lens and say, okay, well, if they're not encouraged to do this, maybe they want to go play pickleball. Maybe they want to go do anything together. Because really, what you're trying to do, and this is something I've been reflecting on a lot, it's less about the workout and more about the connection between you and your kid doing something special, especially young boys. And if I could go find something to go do with my son, physical, I feel like our connection is going to improve and all that kind of stuff. And then as a byproduct, of course, we're going to get better at sports. But it needs to be their decision. Like it needs to be their decision to want to train fitness. But I think a great place to start is by getting them moving, playing activities that they might enjoy. Because every kid has something they enjoy, right? It could be like going out for a nature walk, whatever.
Yeah, I guess that's the kind of question that I'm getting to is like,
Yeah.
if it maybe it's not fitness, but maybe it's, hey, like maybe you have a child who's like at a point where maybe they're going through something or who knows. I'm not saying that, video games are one thing, and I think that you can find community in some of those things, but you know, maybe you have somebody who's right now just not interested in doing anything. Like how do you as a dad look at that and go, well, yeah, we don't have to go and do an intense workout, but maybe let's get out of the house and like let's go do something. Is there the call for you to say like, hey, like we have to go do something right now?
Yeah, I think that it's like a give and a take. So let's just say
Mm,
you had a kid that was a gamer and like
yeah.
really, really loved gaming. Okay. So if they really love gaming, they probably don't like being outside as much. That's a total like assumption, but in general,
Mm,
I find that most of these kids that want to be like doing active stuff, they'll play video games for a little bit and then they just get bored and they need to move on. Other kids, like they could probably be there for a while if you don't take them off.
mm,
I think that there's a give and a take. Be like, hey, Caden, I'm gonna play with you Madden, whatever, or Minecraft or whatever the hell you're playing. I'll play with you for a little bit, but then you need to go on a walk with me outside. Right. And I
mm.
think there's like this like give and take that could be a great place to start. And then maybe they find enjoyment out of going and doing that. Because they move their body and they just feel better. So that'd be my recommendation, right? It's kind of like give a little and get a little.
Yeah, it sounds like it also comes down to the type of relationship that you have with your son or daughter and how open the communication is, and also what age they're
Dude,
at too. Like,
yeah,
you're at an age right now with Caden, he's 11, right?
yeah.
And Ava's what, 13 or 14?
14. Yeah, so they're older. I mean, the conversations have shifted over time, you know? Like when they're 6, it's just like, dude, let's go like go wrestle around. Let's go like have fun. And I
Yeah.
think then it starts to evolve. But one thing I did talk about earlier is like, dude, you're just laying the framework day by day. Because eventually after time, like these kids are smart, man. Like they're but if you've kind of created this relationship ahead of time, they'll know that like you're coming from the right place. You just might not always say it the right way. I know I don't all the time. Like,
Mm.
so that's the thing.
Yeah,
Um,
and keep
Go ahead.
going.
No, I was gonna ask you, there was something else I want to talk to you about, right? I'm trying to remember. Well, I know we got the men's club coming up, but
Well, we should talk about the fact that we've transitioned the captain's call to
yeah.
now the virtual Train Hard Men's Club, which I think is such a great step in the direction of where you want to go with the vision for Train Hard. So, just for context, over the past 4 weeks, Jason's hosted a Train Hard captain's call, and initially it started out as putting out the bat signal for people who wanted to gain initial interest in starting Hard men's clubs locally in their community. You know, being the person who's out there pulling men together, getting them together Saturday or Sunday morning, leading the workout as the captain, participating in the workout. But you started getting a lot of notes and emails and questions from people that were not necessarily so related to like being a captain, but more so just related to like kind of like the art of living, or like being a man today in modern society. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so basically, we started the Los Gatos Men's Club 2.5 years ago. Weekly. We get like 100 guys out there. I was really stoked about when I was in Dallas, co-captain Justin Costas, shout out to him. He ran the group and dude, we still had about 40, 50 guys show up.
That's
And so
great.
that's cool because normally when I run it, the group's a little bit bigger, but to watch the group still be consistent with the co-captain was like really rewarding for me because that's the vision, right? Is that I want to be able to go off and go do other things and let these groups continue to grow. So, anyways, we started these captain calls. But what I realized last week after we got off the call was like, dude, we could do so much more for more men. And so, if you're listening to this podcast, you're a guy out there, I don't care if you want to ever run a Train Hard Men's Club or if you don't. The spirit of what we're going to do through our virtual Train Hard Men's Clubs is to pull men up. That's what we're there for. We're there to pull men up. We're there to share wins, talk about things that are on our mind. The same thing that's probably going through in my life is a similar thing that's going through in your life, and another similar thing that's going through MDV's life. All of us go through similar things, and talking about them in a very uplifting, like, let's go run through a brick wall mentality is the goal. Like, I wrote this down and someone wrote me, he's like, bro, I'm ready to rip the door off the hinges this week. Someone sent me that. And the next guy rose, hey, man, I came in for some insight and I left with some juice. And I was like, all right, let's go. So if you want to come in and get some juice, if you need that juice in your life, check out the podcast show notes because in there is a Google form. There's no sales pitch. There's no nothing. It's like literally jump in, get fired up, go on with your day. It's 30-minute call, happens every Thursday. Currently, it's at 6 a.m. on Thursdays. I think we're probably going to stick with that at this point. I think we've already built it in too much.
Mm.
But make sure you check out the podcast show notes because the whole idea is like we want to get people together in person. That's the North Star. But we also understand that like, dude, some people live all across the world and they can't always have an in-person meetup. So let's have this weekly anchoring call. And my long-term vision would be, dude, guys getting together. They're training with our app during the week. On Thursday, they're on an anchoring call that gets them fired up. On Saturday, they're in person having real connection and it just rinse and repeat, dude. And that's where we're building something special.
Yeah, I like the idea of this being the virtual Train Hard Men's Club, insofar that I think that stuff like this is just lacking for men. I just don't think that the venues exist as much right now as they should, where you have an environment where you're right, money is not being exchanged. There's no exchange of money here to join these calls. And you're getting on these calls for the most part with guys from different various backgrounds, but all committed to a very similar mission of wanting to not only be the best versions of themselves, but to lift up other people around them. And, one of the things that I think I definitely want to get into a conversation more about you on is the messaging through social media and just like how your own message has kind of shifted in terms of like where you've found your calling is just being relentlessly positive on social media. And that's what these calls essentially have become is a beacon of positivity for guys out there who might be, struggling through something or going into work on a tough week or, having thoughts about like, I used to be in such good shape and now I don't know where to go. That is who these calls are for. Those people and also the people who want to be there to lift them up. And I think that it's necessary, man, because we had COVID in 2020 happen where a lot about how we connect with other people changed.
Mm.
And I think that we still feel the ramifications of that. I think that there's not as much of like this desire to go out there and be involved and get in and meet people. And, even in my own life, you can become self-isolated very, very quickly. And these calls are an opportunity to be on there to not only listen to what you have to present, but to just to see hundreds of other guys show up and want to be a part of it. So I highly
Dude,
encourage anybody listening to join.
the self-isolation thing is a real problem
Real
because
problem.
it's very easy, right? It's hard for MDV to try and connect with another guy in his local area if you don't have I recognize that I am blessed to have been as well positioned as possible to have the network I have. I recognize that. My kids play constant sports. I'm constantly interacting with other men and women through those experiences. We own gyms. I'm constantly around people. I go to jujitsu every day, constantly. And so like I recognize that I am being forced into these like whatever because of just or not forced, but like I have them just in my life. But many men, don't have those same third places or outlets. And we're trying to
Mm,
provide that to them. And maybe the first step is they jump on these calls and like,
for
damn,
sure.
like, okay, like
Yeah.
I like this relentless positivity that Jason has. I like this idea of like this brotherhood. How do I get more of that? It's almost like this is like kind of like the gateway into their next step, right? Because
Well,
the barrier to entry is so low. It's a free Zoom call. You know what I mean?
you've been blessed with certain circumstances that have made connection with other people easier for you. But I don't think it's not without effort. Like you have to
Yeah,
put
yeah.
in you have to put in effort to go to jujitsu. You have to put in effort to ask guys to come to the garage and train. You've been putting in effort for 2 years to start the men's club in Los Gatos, and the results speak for themselves. And I think that there comes a point sometimes when like guys can just get exhausted and maybe not through any fault of their own, maybe like whether it's, work or life or stress or whatever. And maybe some of those things that you used to do have just dwindled down a little bit. Or maybe the connections with your boys who you used to be more close with have like everybody gets busy, have kids, obligations. This is a great place to start knocking some of that rust off, getting fired up, remembering that like connection is a huge part of brotherhood, of being around like-minded people, and really like an opportunity to level up and to bring other people up with you. And I think I'm super, super excited about what it could become.
Yeah. So if you're on the fence, dude, just fill out the Google form in the podcast show notes, jump in there. Emails go out. This is the current flow. Flow is prepared to change. Tuesdays, we send out an email with the Zoom link. Thursday morning at 6 a.m. Pacific time. And will not be recording these calls moving forward. These calls will be just like show up, dive in, let's go.
Yeah, got
Uh,
to show up to you got to show up.
you got
And
to show
that's
up.
part of
And
it.
and the reason why we're not recording them, we did record the first four. The reason why we're not recording them is because we want people engaged on there. I understand that people are in different time zones and that 6 a.m. Pacific time may not be convenient. I get it. But trying to prioritize that at least once or twice a month could be a big game changer for you because I want you in there commenting, sharing your wins. I want you in there maybe, sharing with me a story and maybe I pull you on the screen. And that's where the real value comes in.
Mm.
And then watching this thing grow. I mean, the vision is I'd like to have 500 guys on these calls live by the end of 2026. Like that would be a really good goal of mine. And where we're all coming together to get some juice to run through a brick wall together. And dude, I think if we do that, ooh, I mean, it's going to be something really, really special. Yeah, I mean, I get really excited about this opportunity with Train Hard and this vision. You know, I'd say about a while ago, I just said to myself on social media, on podcasts, on everything that we are doing, anything that is related to me or Train Hard will be absolutely, unequivocally, unapologetically positive, period. And that's just where we're at.
Mm.
It is to pull people up and it is not to push people down. It's to build and not to break. And that's just where I'm at in my current journey as a 40-year-old dad and husband. I want to see more men pull up, and I don't need to break them down to get them there. I'm convinced of that. So join us on these calls because they're all
I think
about.
that's what it looks like to look and feel mission committed, and to have the confidence to say like, hey, this is what I'm all about. And it can be tough. You can get distracted by other stuff. You can get bells and whistles, trying to be this, trying to be that, especially on social media, bro. What a crazy environment that can be sometimes. But it's very cool, at least for somebody who's been around you for 10 years, pretty close, to see you this fired up and this consistent and this committed to what the mission of Train Hard and your purpose in that is. And I'm fired up for it. So let's go.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I have plenty of other ideas in the pipeline, but they all are revolving around this. We will be doing, I mean, this is not premature. We will be doing a January challenge, and we'll talk more about it on the next episode, but we're going to do a challenge in January. We need your guys' help, and we are going to get many, many, many men back on the path, but we need your help in getting there. It's going to be a free challenge. There's no money exchanged. All we ask for in return is just your help in getting us more men to get back on the path. So stay tuned for that. That was a little bit of a teaser. And make
Oh,
sure
yeah.
to check out the podcast show notes for the Google Doc, right? Or the Google Sheet to just put your information in. And let's connect like-minded guys. We have more Train Hard Men's Club stuff coming up. Stay tuned on the podcast. We're going to have some guests coming on the show, some friends of the show. But MDV, that's all I got for today, man. That's just been a fun episode.
Let's go.
All right. Hey, everybody out there, keep training hard, keep getting after it. Check out the podcast show notes, and we're going to be there on Thursday morning to pull you up. Let's go.